So you probably read the title of this video and are thinking, what does The Last Jedi have in common with The Killing Joke? How do you even make the connection to those two? Which is what I'm going to get into in this video. So I thought about this years ago, but I just never made a video on it, and now we're on Star Wars Day of 2022, May the 4th, and I figured that was a good time to make a video on this subject. So the topic of this video is how Luke failed Joker's philosophy of the killing joke, or I guess from Joker's perspective, he succeeded, but he did what you wouldn't want Luke to do. So, the killing joke, if you haven't read it, most people have, or if they haven't, they still know about it and what happens. In that storyline from Alan Moore and Brian Bolland, Joker tries to make the case that even the most sane man in the world is just one bad day away from turning as mad as Joker. That's what he wants to make the point. He's not special. He's not some special evil guy. It's just that he had one horrible day and it turned him into what he is. It's not his fault. And he wanted to prove that that could happen to anyone. So, to prove his point, he took the sanest man in Gotham, which obviously isn't Batman. It's Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Gordon's the one guy that hasn't given in to the corruption of Gotham, hasn't given up. He hasn't resorted to flying around as a bat and beating up people as a vigilante. He doesn't do that. He does everything by the book. He does everything as you're supposed to. He is the sanest man in Gotham. So he takes Commissioner Gordon and he tries to turn him insane. His method of doing that is he shoots his daughter, thus making her paralyzed, strips her of her clothes, takes pictures of her, and then goes and puts Commissioner Gordon on a ride to where he sees all this. He strips Commissioner Gordon down, has him surrounded by all these lunatics as he goes on this, in this carnival. He goes on this roller coaster that has the pictures of his daughter that is shot, bleeding out, paralyzed, and naked all throughout it. That obviously is not a fun time for Commissioner Gordon and would mess with a lot of people, and Commissioner Gordon does not have a great time through that. But by the end of it, Batman shows up, Joker retreats into a part of the carnival, and Batman checks on Gordon to see if he's okay. He frees Gordon of his cage where Gordon was, naked and just surrounded by those psychopaths, and Gordon says, "I'm fine, take him in by the book, we have to prove that he's wrong," thus showing that Gordon did not fall to the same things that Joker did. Because Joker in The Killing Joke, assuming you take Joker's word for it and that these flashbacks are real and everything, because in there he talks about how he doesn't even remember how everything happened. He prefers to be multiple choices, he says in the book, in terms of like what his past is. In the book, it showed that a lot of things happen, but one of the things that happens is his wife and unborn child die. He gets disfigured because he needs money since he's a failed stand-up comic, and so he goes and he tries to do a job for the mob, but ends up falling into a vat of chemicals at Ace Chemicals, thus disfiguring him, turning him to look like the Joker with pale skin, green hair, red lips, all that. And so that was his bad day that turned him into the Joker. That didn't happen for Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Gordon had something also horrifying happen to him, like I just explained, but he didn't fail. Now, what does all this have to do with The Last Jedi? Luke had one bad day and it turned him. Luke in the original trilogy was not perfect by any means, but he was the most heroic there was in the original trilogy. He was the hero of that trilogy. He always did what he thought was right. He didn't always do what was necessarily the best thing, like in Empire when he leaves, when they tell him to keep training and this is a mistake, it's a trap. He's like, no, I have to help my friends. That is like morally the right thing to do, but it's not necessarily the smartest thing to do. Luke always went with what was the right thing to do. Like Yoda and Obi-Wan were kind of following the old Jedi ways, to where Luke was more following what like his heart was telling him to do. What was the right thing? My friends are being tortured, I have to go help them. But in The Last Jedi, we see, and also in Return of the Jedi, before I skip ahead too much, Luke, is confronted by the two most evil guys in the universe, Darth Vader and the Emperor. And before even going there, he knows how horrible Vader is and all the terrible things Vader's done, but he says he still senses good in him. He still believes that Vader can come around. He still believes in him. He still believes there's redemption there. And in the end, he was right. But in The Last Jedi, all of that is thrown away, and one bad day ruins Luke. Now you may be thinking, yeah, but that's not necessarily fair, because in The Killing Joke, he's like talking, it's way different, considering Joker was driven mad and became the Joker and started killing people as a supervillain. Luke didn't turn into a supervillain. No, but he was driven mad. If you think about who Luke was and how heroic he was and the type of character he was, the person he was, to where going from that, helping everyone, to being a hermit on an island and disconnecting himself from the Force, he was driven mad. He wasn't turned into a supervillain, but he wasn't helping anyone anymore. He was the reason that that Snoke and Kylo and the First Order were able to rise to prominence. If Luke was there, things would have gone much differently. If Luke wouldn't have given up immediately after everything happened to his temple, then this wouldn't have happened. Because Luke's bad day was he had a moment of weakness, which I think is very out of character for Luke. Not him having a moment of weakness. Luke had moments of weakness all the time. But for him to get to the point where he's going to ignite his lightsaber over his sleeping nephew's bed because he had a bad dream is not something Luke would ever do, especially this Luke, because this Luke's more mature and has seen more things and knows more. Like, this is more like younger Luke wouldn't have even done this, but it would be more understandable if younger Luke would do this. This is a much more mature Luke, and he's like, oh man, he had a bad dream trying to kill my nephew, and that was his bad day, because he lit his lightsaber, decided, oh no, I shouldn't be doing this. Kylo woke up, freaked out, because, you know, if your uncle's standing over you with a deadly weapon, it's understandable to freak out. And then Kylo and I believe the Knights of Ren just destroy his entire temple and everything that Luke has spent years building. And Luke decided to give up. There's a fantastic line in The Killing Joke when Batman tells Joker that Gordon survived. Gordon made it out with his sanity, because Joker's like, oh, I won. Gordon's obviously a mess. He's not who he was. He's driven mad. But then Batman tells him, no, he's fine, actually. He survived, and he has his wits about him, and he's not driven mad. And he tells him, and I quote, maybe there isn't any need to crawl under a rock with all the other slimy things when trouble hits. Maybe it was just you all the time, end quote. Telling Joker that, yeah, it's just you. Not everyone's going to get driven mad like this. But sadly, Luke crawled under the rock with all the other slimy things. He flew off to an island to get himself away from all his troubles. Even though everything he had been through in the original trilogy and how resilient he was and the hero he was, he decided to give up. He's like, nah, this ain't worth it. I'm just going to go to an island and give up and let tons of people be killed and let, you know, more space Nazis essentially take over. I'm done. That was him failing The Killing Joke. Something that Commissioner Gordon did not fail, but Luke Skywalker did. It's weird to think that Luke Skywalker is as weak-willed as the Joker. That's just not right. Like I said, I realized this a couple years ago when I was rereading The Killing Joke. It made me think of Luke, and I was like, yeah, Luke just had one bad day, and it completely changed him and drove him mad. Like, you see throughout when Rey's there on the island that Luke he's not right in the head. He's not the Joker, but he's not right, and he's not himself. He was driven mad. And so it's weird to see that. And that's part of the reason why I hate The Last Jedi. I still think it's the best out of the sequel trilogy, which isn't saying much, because all of those movies suck. But I think The Last Jedi is the best out of them, because at least there's some things that are interesting. Still a bad movie. But yeah, this is just something I had an interesting thought, and it's Star Wars Day, and I wanted to make a video for it. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. You guys get what I'm trying to say here. If you guys enjoyed the video, what you think about it, please leave a like and a comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. All that stuff helps the channel. Appreciate all the support, and yeah, see you guys in the next one.
Hey, skinny boy, saucy boy, I be running to the bank. Yeah, you know I hit the gas in the whip full tank. Riding past the ocean while I'm listening to Frank.